So if we just look at the Catholic Church, take a look at this. Now we know that at Christmas time and Easter time especially, they have a Luciferian ceremony that goes on, claiming Lucifer is God the Father, and that the son of Lucifer, they call to be Jesus, is the Antichrist. And that in their belief system, that's the outcome. That little Jesus is the son of Satan, Lucifer, and they invoke this every Easter of all things. It's pretty bad because that's the time when Jesus sacrificed his life and God sacrificed his son. So it's pretty vile when it comes down to the actions behind Satan and the fulfillment of carrying out such an act, and then the ceremony involved in it under the name of Jesus Christ. Their whole Luciferian process claims that they're Christians, but they're not. So what else are they doing that is involved in that?
The Vatican guards their secrets closely, no matter the public pressure or what these secrets could mean for the world. Of course, this begs the question, what other secrets might they be hiding? In 1750, archaeologists discovered a mysterious book deep within the tomb of Solomon in Jerusalem. It was inscribed with the year 1522, though those who examined it believed it was a copy of an older source, perhaps from the 1200s, perhaps even from an oral source much older than that. But what truly shocked those who saw it was not the book's date, but its contents. Written on the pages within were instructions on how to make magic talismans and amulets, how to cast magic spells and summon demons. Most dramatically, the book described how to summon the devil by constructing a magic circle and performing a ritual involving the sacrifice of a baby lamb, at which point one could make a deal with the devil. Intriguingly, the author of the book was allegedly one Honorius of Thebes, an apocryphal figure who was said to have been possessed by the devil. The mysterious book was called the Grand Grimoire. In the 18th century, grimoires, a word for a textbook of the occult, gained a popularity in France. Accordingly, copies of the Grand Grimoire, said to be the most powerful of all grimoires, began to spread across the country and across the world to French colonies. There the Grand Grimoire was called Le Dragon Rouge, the Red Dragon, calling to mind the biblical words of Revelation chapter 12. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. Yet despite the alleged power of the Grand Grimoire and the many copies spread across the world, none reported having summoned the devil, and the book's popularity faded into memory. Perhaps then the conclusion is that the Grand Grimoire was nothing but a hoax. Some offer a different explanation. They say the Grand Grimoire is not a hoax, but rather the commercialized copy spread around the world represent an edited version of the work, its true power censored out, and that somewhere the original, unaltered copy remains. Except it's not somewhere. We know where the original copy of the Grand Grimoire is. That's right. According to the Vatican, it is stored in their secret archives. Could the Vatican really have access to a book of magic spells or even the ability to conjure the devil? And if so, what other powers might they have? In 1972, a bizarre headline appeared in an Italian magazine called La Domenica del Corriere. It read, "A machine that photographs the past has finally been invented." The article gave the account of a Catholic priest by the name of Father Pellegrino Ernetti, who asserted that hidden deep within the Vatican's secret archives was a device which allowed its user to see and hear events from the past. Not a time machine which sent a person back in time, but rather a sort of time viewer which brought the past into the present. A device which could tune into specific events of the past and display them on a screen, like some sort of time-traveling television. The device was called the chronovisor, and with it, Ernetti asserted, he had been able to see the last days of the life of Jesus and other biblical moments, like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the creation of the Ten Commandments. Most astonishingly, the article included a photograph of the face of Jesus at the moment of crucifixion, which Ernetti had purportedly taken using the device, proof, it seemed, of the chronovisor's existence and function. We made a video on this topic, and you can click the link in the top right corner or in the comments to watch it. For a while, the article caused a stir in the religious and scientific communities before fading from memory, never confirmed but equally never disproven. Then, curiously, in 1988, the Vatican itself issued an official decree on the chronovisor, in which it warned that anyone using an instrument of such characteristics would be excommunicated.
That's your lovely Vatican. Yeah. And we know that they carry out ceremonies of Lucifer, and we know that Lucifer is their god, and that we know that the Pope is supposedly the incarnation of Lucifer, known as the Father. You know, so every Pope becomes overshadowed, becomes embodied by Lucifer. Yeah? And then they call him the Father. So he's anointed through the ceremonies of Lucifer, and they're the church that brings forth the Antichrist, the child of Lucifer, yeah, which they call the Christ, but in truth, it's the Antichrist. Yeah. And so that's quite a process. You know, we know this is true. We know they do it every year. It can be verified. And we also know that they have the one book on earth that can invoke the devil. Yeah. And so what? Are they actually doing this? Are they really doing this? And how does that have an effect on us? Yeah. And are they doing more? Are they going outside of Earth, to find Lucifer, to find the devil, and call the devil here and anoint him? Could they do something like, would they have an intention like that? Let's check it out.
Arizona, the Vatican works with world governments and American astronaut Gordon Cooper, one of the original 7 people sent to space by the United States, asserted, "You want to know about UFOs and little green men? Contact the Vatican." In fact, even the current Pope, Pope Francis, has publicly declared that he would be willing to baptize aliens, asking rhetorically, "Who are we to close doors?" Far from closing doors, the Vatican freely seeks to open them. In Tucson, Arizona, the Vatican works with world governments and astrological associations to scour deep space for signs of extraterrestrial life using some of the most powerful telescopes on Earth at the Mount Graham International Observatory. Curiously, the instrument which powers the most formidable of the observatory's telescopes is known as the Large Binocular Telescope Near-Infrared Utility with Camera and Integral Field Unit for Extragalactic Research, or Lucifer for short. Yes, the Vatican is searching for aliens using a telescope named after the devil. So what does the Vatican know about aliens that we don't? About the devil, about the past and the future? Whatever it...
So, when you're playing with shit like that, what effect can it have on you who's trying to decide whether or not you eat a candy bar today? Because these people, like this place, look at this. That's huge. That's huge. That's doctrines after doctrines over history, over thousands of years of who knows what is in that library. That's a tree of knowledge, people. And they even have a machine that allows them to see through the tree of knowledge of such a psychic envelope. It allows us to look back in the past. I mean, come on. What if you could look back in the past and you put spells on it? and makes that past more worse than what it really was. A place like this would do that. Yeah. They would do that because they think they should. Look at all the stuff they did. How many people died? How many people were boiled in oil? Yeah. How many people were hung? How many people were deballed? Yeah. How many people had their guts cut out, hanging at their feet? Yeah. Common stuff. If you look in the history of the Catholic Church. You know, what group gave in to Hitler? What group hid the Nazis? Yeah, you know, and the guy who was the Pope at the time, he was a communist. He was a Hitler fanatic. He was into Mussolini. That was his leader, his closest friend. Mussolini made it possible for this place to exist. He sanctioned it. You know, he said this land is what it is today. He made that law. He decreed the bank. He decreed everything. He created a country for Satan. And that was Trump.
Saints of Christ, all